enjoyed that? Yeah. My name is Christian Solowitz, and I'm the lead entertainment editor at the Huffington Post Canada. Maybe you've been there. So you're here today for Covert Affairs, and we're super excited to bring you 3 of the cast members here in Toronto, soon to be here with their Subway Cups. You'll be able to see them in action in season 4 of Covert Affairs, which premieres Wednesday, August 28th, which is actually only 3 days from now, on Showcase at 10 p.m. So let's bring in the panel. First up, we have Piper Perabo, who plays the lovely Annie Walker. Yep, no denying. Next is Kari Matchett, who plays the feisty Joan Campbell. She just recently had a baby. She's looking fantastic. Look how good she looks. And last but not least is Peter Gallagher, who plays Mr. Arthur Campbell. Chris Gorham and Hill Harper were supposed to be here, but unfortunately they couldn't make the panel and had to cancel their appearances. They were filming and there were some conflicts with scheduling, so they sent their apologies and I really wish they could be here. So that said, let's sit down with these 3 and see what they have to say. Yay. First of all, welcome. Let's give them all an applause. Yeah. This crowd is super happy to see you. Go ahead. Get ready, guys. Put down your cameras. All right, so we all know that season 3 was a crazy one. Jam-packed tons of stuff. Do you guys have any specific thoughts on how it ended or the season as a whole?
Well, I mean, the last scene of season 3, Augie and Annie kiss for the first time.
Yeah.
They did kiss once in a dream, but I don't think that really counts. So that was the sort of cliffhanger that I was interested to see what would happen. And as you could see in the sizzle reel, it's quite a covert affair in the beginning. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
No thoughts on the other 2? Peter, I'm looking at you.
Chris, I can't understand a word you're saying because it's kind of boomy. What'd you say?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not you, I think it's just the...
Your thoughts on season 3?
My thoughts on season 3?
And the ending of season 3.
Season 3?
No spoilers.
I don't remember season 3. I'm trying to remember season 4. We're still at it. Season 3 was awesome. You're gonna love it.
We're really far into shooting season 4 right now, so
we're almost done with season 4.
Peter's a joker, as I found out.
Arthur is still alive.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you guys are going to be able to talk about this, but I would like to hear your thoughts on Annie and Augie together. Do you like them as friends? Do you like them as lovers? Do you like them as both? Say what you can.
Well, I'll say that one of the things that I didn't expect when Annie and Augie got together was, sometimes Annie has these love affairs that go on and the actors come and go, and so I thought, oh, it's going to be so much easier if it's Chris because, he's always here and we know each other, but I didn't anticipate how awkward it would be for the crew. Because, they see us every day, and it's like going to your office and all of a sudden 2 people that you work with are like making out. And so Stag, the Dolly Group, and like Craig the Boom Up, the first sex scene, they were all like, oh my God.
But after that one love scene, then all the crew started making out with each other. And so it's just another example of Piper being a great leader. We got a lot of love on the set, and we have Annie and Augie to thank for that, I think.
Was it kind of like a release of energy to finally kiss him? Not in real life.
For me, so.
I mean, we had been sort of talking about, we knew that it was coming, and mostly we were always just trying to figure out, which step comes next and how much to do, not do, to keep it exciting, and so it's sort of calculated on our part a little bit.
And how do you think the fans feel about Augie and Annie getting together?
I guess they like it.
That's good. Now, everyone wants to know, what skills and talents have you learned while working on this show? Peter, keep it PG.
I've become very good at taking my glasses on and off. and I changed clothes in the 4th season, so that's but I haven't, I do a little different kind of thing. You guys, Piper's been learning all sorts of great mad skills, and Kari has been learning all sorts of mad fighting skills, and so you should probably answer these questions. I'm untrainable. I'm unteachable.
I have had a couple of fight scenes, and I train in Krav Maga privately anyway, so we just use some of the stuff that I was training doing personally. But I think Piper's the one who's probably had the biggest stretch in terms of languages. You actually visited the CIA at one point. You've had lots of boxing training, so I hand it over to Piper.
Yeah, I don't do Krav Maga privately like Kari, but that'd be a warning to you guys out there. Yeah, Annie is up to 16 languages now, so that's takes some learning, and luckily we shoot here in Toronto, which I read somewhere that it's the most ethnically diverse city in North America, and it's good for Covert Affairs because when Annie speaks a language, we always hire a native language speaker here in Toronto to be the language coach, and we've always, no matter what the language is, we've always found somebody, even when we were doing scenes in Sri Lanka and stuff.
The amazing thing about Piper.
Yeah.
The amazing thing about Piper learning these languages, though, is she has about 10 seconds to learn. Literally, it's true though.
It's a short.
We shoot the episodes very, very quickly. We're lucky we have a weekend off. Piper especially is lucky, and she learns these languages literally in 10 seconds. So it's a phenomenon in of itself that she can do that. But for anybody, that would be a challenge. But there's just no time, so it's sort of extra amazing.
Cool, and how many languages do you guys, each of you, actually really speak, besides English?
How many languages do I speak?
In real life.
In real life, I can speak French and English, and French only badly.
Same here.
Do you speak French?
I speak French badly.
Peter?
I'm sorry?
You mono-language?
Can I who what?
One language?
Oh, I speak French badly. I speak Greek really badly. I barely speak Spanish badly. And I'm learning English.
When did you learn Greek?
When I was doing a movie in Greece before you were born.
Which is the first.
Summer Lovers. It changed a lot of lives. Τι κάνεις, καλά? Μπράβο. Βάζω εδώ στο πλοίο.
And what about gun and weapon proficiency? Did you take a visit to the shooting range multiple times?
Yeah, I have a weapons teacher. I actually have a couple of weapons teachers now. And usually Annie, in season 3 anyway, Annie has a rhino, which is a sort of concealed snub nose that she carries. But we've also I work with other, I've been begging Matt and Chris to write me a scene with a sniper rifle, so I've been practicing. It's really interesting, and I didn't know anything about it when I started, and so that's a skill that I learned for the show.
And what about when you travel? No, which you have to get, can you talk about that? It's really amazing.
When we travel, in season 3 even, when we're in Russia, there's a lot of gunplay, and so I have to get letters from film companies and signed by the government and blah, 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 because when you've been firing a lot of guns, there's gunpowder residue that gets on your hands and on your clothes, and like usually when we're filming foreign, I have my backpack with me all the time, and so that's on the fabric, and so you know when you go to the airport and they swab for that, so I have to have special letters that say like, I'm Annie Walker, and it's okay.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. I'm glad I have that because I'm sure you'd get in big trouble.
So Piper, has the way you played Annie changed over the last season in particular? Especially even since the beginning, since season 1?
Season 1, we really played like it was, you know, the pilot is Annie's first day at work in the CIA, and, you know, when she meets all the characters, it's her first day at work, and as we've progressed each season, it's been her next year at work. So, the missions, as she's risen in the CIA, there's higher stakes, she has a higher level of classified status, the people she's going after are more dangerous, and the travel gets broader and broader. Like in season 4, we went to South America for the first time, and we're gonna, I can't even say where we're going, but we're going even farther. We're going to the moon.
We're going to Mars. It's a hotbed.
Is the way you play Annie different? Like, do you approach her differently? Is she more worldly at this point?
Yeah, I mean, when you're a rookie, you fail all the time, which was sort of the fun thing about playing her at the beginning. And now, you know, Joan and Annie would always sort of spar, especially in season 1, because Annie has no idea what she's doing, and so she's constantly screwing up. And now, as we're 4 years in, and so Annie, it's more about like which decision to make, making a plan, and Joan and Annie in season 4 are a lot more on the same team, even within the CIA.
Yeah, the power dynamics shifted. It's completely different now. Much more of a we're allies. We're working together now. It's a nice shift.
Well, and Kari and Peter, do you realistically think a marriage could function in this sort of environment?
Well, I think, oh, you answer, my dear. And that's how a marriage works.
I think the dynamic that's between two people who were married in the CIA, that Peter and I are playing, I think it creates the most difficult issue that a married couple could encounter, which is, can we trust each other? Do we trust each other? The love thing, it's there, you know, the love thing is present. Huge, massive love between Joan and Arthur. But can we trust each other, and do we trust each other? And that is constantly being tested, and it creates this fiery dynamic that is interesting to play. And I don't know, could a marriage survive?
Well, my feeling is this. Statistically, most marriages don't survive. Even outside the CIA. And so I really think it's a kind of an individual thing. I think you, in some ways, you have as good a shot at having a marriage survive in the CIA as you do outside the CIA. It has to do with the individuals. And the fact of the matter is you have a shared kind of background, a shared experience. And there's a lot of mysteries to the ways of love and how couples survive. So I think it's hard to, I think it's certainly harder because there's, you know, the secrets and the pressure, and especially if you're active and you're still in the job and there's separation and so on and so forth. But, you know, I've read about some very interesting CIA couples who were married together as when they were both covert, and then when they became overt later and stayed together. So I think it's kind of specific. I mean, it doesn't make it easier, that's for sure. I totally trust you. It's me I'm not too sure about.
Did I tell you he sings?
Pardon?
Peter sings.
What about?
You sing.
Do I sing in the show? No, I don't.
No. Do you sing now?
What did you say? Luck be lady. They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt. At times you have a very unladylike way of running out. You're on this date with me. The pickings have been lush. And yet before this, I changed key. Evening is over, you might give me the brush. You might forget your manners. You might refuse to stay. And so the best that I can do is pray. You know the rest of it. You really have to twist my arm.
He hates it. I just have to add that I did just have a baby, and I'm bringing him to set with me now, and he will be completely upset. And Peter will come up to him and talk to him and start singing to him, and Jude, my baby, will just do this. We'll go from completely being upset to just being...
Actually, it's usually more like this, being completely upset too. True, that's, I know.
That was completely unscripted, by the way. He totally just sang it. It's crazy. So, am I to understand that you're the only one, Piper, who's been in a CIA building?
I'm the only one in the cast.
Okay. And so, can you tell us a little bit what it was like without revealing any massive government secrets? But, what was the security like? What did it feel like?
The security was pretty severe. They had to do background checks before I could even agree to go on the trip or whatever. And then when I got there, I had brought like my notebooks and all. I had all these questions prepared and things that I wanted to go over. But then you can't bring notebooks and pens and cameras or anything into the seat. The only thing you're allowed to bring in is your car keys. So I had to, when I got back to my car after the trip, I like sat for 2 hours writing down everything I learned. But some things were what I expected, and other things like, I remember there was a woman that I was speaking to, and she was wearing heels, and I thought, oh good, Annie wears heels, and she wears heels. And then she opened her file cabinet to get something, and there were sneakers inside, and I was like, wait a minute. Do you really wear heels at work? And she said, well, Langley is so big that sometimes information comes in and it's eyes only, and it's happening right now in real time. And so I'll take my shoes off and put on my sneakers, and I have to run across the building to see something because it's happening right now. So she's like, I just keep these sneakers in case of emergencies for eyes only information. And there were things like that, you know, we haven't done that in Covert Affairs yet, but there were a lot of things like that we do implement into the show that I thought were sort of interesting details that aren't necessarily about national security, but that are about the sort of day-to-day life of what it's like to really work in that building, which is what I think makes the show interesting.
So you'd say it's really accurate then?
Say again?
It's really accurate then? The depiction?
The show is pretty accurate in certain respects. Yeah, we try and stay pretty true to the things that we know are going on there.
And despite the serious aspects of Covert Affairs, there's obviously a lot of humor, even just amongst you three. Would you say it's the same on set? There's sort of a fun vibe despite the serious aspects?
When Peter's around, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, there's a real sense of levity on the set. Everybody gets along incredibly well. There's a lot of love, and you know, it's there's this sort of joke on set that it's like the other Covert Affairs, because people, when we're rehearsing scenes, sometimes they're so heavy and they're so serious, you just have to always play the other side. So it would be kind of great if we could do like the comedy show.
I know, it'd be fun to show it.
It would be, because it does get pretty funny, especially.
We have a great production entity here in Toronto. I've been coming up here for 25 years doing movies and things, and you know, years ago there was like one great crew in Toronto. Now there's a million great crews, and I've probably worked with half our crew on 3 or 4 pictures, and our production supervisor and executive producer Sean Ryerson, who runs the operation here, it's like coming home every time you go to work. You're surrounded by the most wonderful professionals. Our production designer, Rocco, and all these people who do all these wonderful things. And it's fun. I mean, there's nothing better than when you have a job and you love everybody who's in front of the camera, and you love everybody who's behind the camera, you know, and it makes you feel lucky to go to work.
when I tell people about what it's like on our show, like friends of mine who are on other TV shows, I realize that it's not like that on every show. You know, sometimes sort of a nightmare there, so I feel so lucky to be here in Toronto and with our cast and crew.
And it has a lot to do with Piper being number one on the call sheet and the head of our cast, who's at the top, can really define the experience. And she is a wonderful leader, cast leader, and takes her job and her in that position very seriously, but with a great deal of grace and generosity. And it makes it great for all of us.
This might be a dumb question, having met Peter, but is there a prankster on set, or someone who plays jokes or anything? I could see also maybe Chris being that person.
Was one of us a prankster?
I don't think we do like shaving cream and shoes.
Like
things
our
like
show,
that.
things explode, so like you have to be sort of careful about pranks. Like I have a gun, you know what I mean? Like it's not the best show to do like pranks.
Yeah, explosives, flammable things. No.
Yeah.
Just when we're in the full attempt at executing a scene, sometimes things can get funny without even intending to. So that's my funny response.
So you say you love shooting in Toronto. That's pretty awesome. I mean, one of the things I like watching about the show is that I can pinpoint certain places because I grew up here. So it's like, hey, there's that back alley that I'm very familiar with. I'm joking.
There's that back alley. I always think that when I meet people from Toronto who watch the show, because I'm like, don't tell everybody. Like, you know, we'll be like, we're in Geneva, and it's like, no, you're in Yorkville. But only really Torontonians are like so well, like visually versed in the city to know, you know, like you're saying, the back alley, like there are certain like really cool graffitied alleys in the city, and people who live here know them. So sometimes we're not always
That was it, guys. Come on.
foreign countries we say we are.
No, but yeah, I mean, I'll see some graffiti and I'll just be like, wow, I know exactly where that is. Is there any particular locale that you've shot in that you're like, wow, this is a beautiful building, or this is a beautiful location, right by the lake, anything like that?
There's so many places in Toronto that are beautiful. In fact, it's multiple, like not only at the waterfront, which we use, although not as much as like the city itself, because of the skyscrapers and how sort of new so many of the buildings are, you can shoot at like a lot of different cities. I don't know, where are the places that we shoot?
We shot in the
I like
country.
when you shot the scene in Thailand on the lake.
Oh yeah,
And they stripped it in post.
we shot the Sri Lankan beach on, what is it down by the
Cherry
beach?
Beach.
Oh yeah, on Cherry Beach. And we literally like dragged palm trees out there and dug holes and stuck them in Cherry Beach. And huge pieces of driftwood. And there's an entire Sri Lankan community here in Toronto, and we asked like all of them to come and do the background. And I'm wearing like shells and a bikini, and the director was like, you think you could just get in, I don't know what, it was October maybe, and they were like, what if you just like jumped in the water? I was like, we're not actually in like the tropics. But we did.
Out of all the things you've done, difficult, scary, dangerous things, that just terrified me. If I had to jump into that water at that time, I just
Well,
said,
and the camera
I could show
boys,
business.
they were all in like triple wetsuits,
Oh,
all
I
keep
know.
you warmy up booties
just
and like
jump in.
hoods, and I'm in like a string bikini.
Yeah. Just jump in, and while you're swimming, say that speech in Sri Lanka. Yeah, no, keep the Louboutins on. Yeah, that's good.
That's our
And
shot.
then kill the guy.
As soon as you're done swimming with them, shoot him.
So there's so many secrets on this show. Your characters hold secrets and lies and all these backstories. Is it hard to keep them straight at any point?
It's super, like, one of the things I was worried about today was because 4 hasn't started airing yet. It will in like 3 days here in Canada, but we're so far into 4, and this season specifically is like the season of secrets, so there's so many things that we can't say that I was like, how are we going to do an interview when we go there and we can't tell them anything? There's huge secrets that come out in 4.
And so you're really far ahead. In terms of scripts, like, do you know what's happening at the end of season 4 already? Or are you kept I'm not asking to find out what it is, but
I was answering this question earlier, and I said, I know where we'll be, and I know who will be there and who won't be there, but I don't know why they're there, or why. Some people I know why they're not there, but some people I don't.
that was really spoiler-free. Thank you. Piper and Kari, we're seeing shows nowadays with a lot of strong women. It seems to be a really popular thing right now, which is great. Do you enjoy playing that sort of role with a really, strong, powerful, non-subservient woman?
I just am so relieved that there are shows that are showing women who are capable of fighting and shooting. And not that I'm a big proponent of violence on television, because I'm not, but I think it's really, it's like time in the zeitgeist of the world that women are leaders, and women are shown for being beautiful, but also for being smart, and for being strong in their mind and in their bodies. I think it's just time in the world that we show that. I think women have been kept in a little safe box for an awfully long time, and now that's exploding. And I'm very happy to be playing a strong woman's role. I'm very happy to be working with Piper, who is also a strong woman, and it's a gift, and I just may it continue.
I kind of hate asking this question because I know it's hard on you guys to answer. Just wondering if you could think of a favorite scene that you've shot that you enjoyed the most. I know it's hard.
You mean in, not the, like in the, right.
Just in general.
A favorite scene that we shot. There was, there's a lot for me, but we did a foot chase once, I think it's season 2, through Venice, Italy, and it was so fun. It was so fun. Like, we had all gone, we all, the small group of us that goes when we film foreign, it's a super skeleton crew. And we don't, like when we shoot here in Toronto, when we're gonna shoot on Bloor Street, we lock it off and there's police to make sure that there's no civilian cars going in so that we can have action scenes and whatever. Well, when we shoot abroad, often we don't lock anything off. And it's totally out of control. So fun, and in Venice, it was amazing. It was like cinema verite, because I'm chasing a guy who stole something from me, and we're running through Venice, Italy, like jumping over canals, across canal boats, and running down streets. And Italian men are so kind of like helpful and macho that I would be running after this guy like, stop, stop, stop. And Italian guys would be eating their lunch, and they would jump up, try and help me get the guy, and we'd have to like stop and explain like we're over the bears, and then like these handsome guys would like go back to their lunch, and we'd run a couple more blocks, and like sure enough, another Italian guy was like, oh yeah, I could do this forever. It was so fun, and it was a beautiful city, and the people were obviously so incredible, and it was as an actor, it was one of those sort of dreamy moments where the world is really the background, and it's all kind of happening live, and you're in this incredible place. It was really fun.
I recently shot a scene with Peter that has turned into my favorite scene. And I don't know if you remember, but it was, I can't talk about it because I didn't see the floor.
Can you say, like, just to help narrow it down, was it in the house or was it in the office, or neither?
Neither.
It was on the kitchen counter.
What's it about?
I think that happened.
I know it did. No, it was a beautiful acting moment, artistically satisfying.
Can you give us a hint so that when we see it, we'll know what it was? What episode? 12? 412?
I had no idea. Maybe
It
it
could
was.
have been 412.
Was it
I
last
think it was
week?
right before 11.
No. Oh, no, maybe it was 11.
I think it was 11.
Can you give us a
Felix,
hint?
Felix directed it.
Oh, then it's
wonderful.
10.
10?
10, that's 10.
10. It isn't 10. But there was just, I had just had the baby. It was the beginning of me coming back to work, which was crazy. And our director threw a curveball at us a bit. There was, I don't know what it was. It was sort of like the environment was right, but there was a connection that happened between Peter and I, and the words and the writing, and the director was on board. And one of the most amazing things about being an actor is sometimes you look at a scene and you think, okay, well, this is the way it's going to go. And then you're on set, and it goes a completely different direction. And it opens up, and it feels like, you know, the heavens are rushing through you and things are happening. And it was just such a satisfying, beautiful experience to have it. It was just a purely creatively beautiful moment with the wonderful Peter Gallagher.
Well, and I know that scene she's talking about, and I'm so glad I was there. No, but it's true. It's like, you know, if you keep showing up long enough, every once in a while, it all works. And, you know, it's been nice for me, and I've had a couple of nice scenes this season, and that was certainly one of them. I love working with Kari, and I occasionally would get to work with Piper. Piper and I got to work in Berlin, which was fun.
That was amazing. At the listening station.
Yeah, an NSA listening post that was during the Cold War, and I got to shoot some stuff with Doug Lyman and on a plane that we totally bootlegged. It was fun,
Oh yeah, I heard about you guys.
which I shouldn't talk about. But you know, it's nothing greater when you get to do a nice scene with actors you love and admire, and you know, the worst you can do is do what you expect, but the best that can happen is when you're all surprised and it has a little bit of a heartbeat. So hopefully that's true. We suspect it's a good scene. We actually haven't seen it, but we'll see.
That's great, guys. I want to ask you a question that's not about covert affairs. Anyway. What TV shows are you guys currently addicted to?
Well, I am a day late and a dollar short. You know, I'm just getting into Leave It to Beaver. I mean, not really, but, you know, Bryan Cranston is a friend of mine, and I still hadn't seen Breaking Bad, so I've started watching Breaking Bad. My God, it's a great show. I'm like this. It's like, did anybody see All in the Family? Oh my God! You guys already know what I'm talking about. But I'm getting into that now. You know
what show I've discovered recently? There's a new Chris Guest show called Family Tree. It is so funny.
Well, I haven't seen it.
It's so great. Chris O'Dowd stars in it, and I love him. And Christopher Guest is like a god to me. So it's quirky, weird, funny, off-the-wall stuff. And then my other favorite show, which I'm sure all you guys love too, is Game of Thrones. It's like amazing. And why were there only 10 episodes this season? What? Was that the craziest? Did you see that last episode?
I've never seen her like
I haven't
this.
seen the season yet. I haven't seen the season yet. And I know there's like this friend of mine called me and she was like crying. And she was like, have you seen it? I'm like, shh, what's not working? Don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say
It's
anything.
crazy good.
Next year's Game of Thrones.
The show that I'm sort of obsessed with right now is Vikings on the History Channel. Vikings, have you seen the show? I'm totally obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it. Some friend of mine was like, oh, History Channel has their first scripted show, and I'm half Norwegian, so I was like, oh, I should watch it. It's so good. It's like Sons of Anarchy and fur. I love it. It's like all hunky men, like sailing around with eye makeup on. It's so good.
All right, guys, unfortunately I'm getting a bit of a wrap up, but I'm going to ask one final question, which is about season 4. So, you're very spoiler free. I'm wondering if there's anything you can tell us, some stuff to look forward to in 3 days. You can do it.
Well, we can say where it takes place. Did we already say that? I said what's the question?
that's what it sounds like. I think I'm deaf in this ear and I can't hear out of that one. I don't know.
Not a spoiler.
No.
So we know where they're going, roughly. We know roughly where you're going. What continent?
The premiere takes place, okay.
You know what? You have an honest face. Okay. Well, the show opens, you know, let's talk about Arthur. Somebody's got to.
We go to Colombia for the season premiere. We go to Medellin, Colombia, which was like where the Escobar family sort of had their headquarters. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty fun to shoot there. What else can we tell them?
And Hill Harper's joined the
yeah.
cast, who's in CSI New York. And
New
that's
sheriff.
New sheriff in town.
Yeah, so he's added a lot of,
I know he's shooting today too, that's why he's not here.
that's right, yeah,
He's a big part of season 4.
Mhm.
He's our secret weapon.
So we have a lot to look forward to, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I think you guys will like it.
So it looks like we're out of time. I want to thank Piper, Kari, and Peter for coming today.
Thank you guys so much.
And don't forget that you can catch them on season 4 premiere of Covert Affairs on Wednesday, 3 days, August 28th, on Showcase at 10 p.m. Thank you.